What's going on, everybody? Got a special going for you today. Want to thank the sponsors: Crossbreed Holsters, Kenzies Optics, Riton Optics, Taurus USA, Canic, and I want to give a special thanks to Tops Knives. I picked a couple random winners for Tops Knives. Some of you guys will be getting some stuff in the mail that got DMs from me. So there were a few people that got, hit up and got the time to spend some time with some of the folks at Tops Knives not too long ago. So that was awesome. So I'm really looking forward to getting the opportunity to send some of those out. So that'll be random to people that comment and people that take a chance and participate and comment on the live. So please remember to subscribe, remember to head over, and you might have a chance on YouTube to win something randomly. What I typically do is I pick somebody at random on YouTube to win. So hopefully everybody participates. Hopefully everybody takes the time. If you take the time to participate, you can win a prize. So I'm working on some of the newer sponsors of the show, and I'm working on bringing on some new sponsors. I'm talking to a lot of different companies, and I'll be talking to some companies at NRA. So with the growth of the podcast, and I thank you guys, we'll be working on a whole bunch of really cool episodes once we move the podcast to having more guests on and things like that. So thank you to everybody. I picked two random winners for the Tops Knives. They know who they are. They're going to be getting goodie bags, packages in the mail from Tops. So we're going to talk a little bit about fake news. Tonight's topic's fake news. If you're over on Instagram, head over to YouTube and comment. Make sure you comment and make sure you tag and comment, and you'll be eligible to win the Taurus. So there's an ongoing giveaway right now for a Taurus that somebody's going to randomly win. It's going to get shipped right to their FFL, so make sure you enter. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but about fake news. But first, as far as companies that are going to be sponsored or are considering sponsor, make sure you tag them in any of my last posts so I know who I should be talking to, because sometimes that varies. So here we go. Fake news. I picked this as a topic, and I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff that's going down right now with fake news. So I want everybody to kind of be aware that fake news is something that kind of happens the most in social media spheres all over. So there's tons of people constantly, putting out there any fake news that they can put out there. So I constantly caution people when they go through their news feed or they go through their social media feeds, and there's a lot of people out there addicted to social media. That's where they live. That's where they get all their feedback. That's where they get everything. To stay away from as much of the news as they can, because it's hard to disseminate what's real and what isn't. So if you head over to, of course, Gail, of course I'm going to cover this. So if you head over to any Google search bar anywhere and you just search out the simple term of fake news, and for those of you on YouTube, I'm going to show you my screen, you can see just how much is being publicized right now about this. There's a lot going on right now with fake news, particularly in Facebook and Instagram updating their algorithms and changing their algorithms. Facebook just announced it's changing its news feed again to stop fake news. So I constantly tell you guys to be very aware of who you hit like and follow to and what you pay attention to, because fake news is something that's very real. And I know it's a topic that's been talked about before, and I know that it's a topic that a lot of people get into on mainstream media because Trump's brought light to it, recently. But it's something that you have to be aware of. So I felt like I had to address it because there's been a lot of these publicized stories, and a lot of these things have come out through fake news, and people start to believe that it's real. And it goes on constantly in social media. Whether it's, Facebook just updated, and I believe Donald Trump Jr. Instagram rather, put it in his news feed today, that Instagram will be updating its algorithm to weed out not only sexually suggestive photos, but also negative or harmful memes and news-based memes, because of the fact that I believe it's all being turned on its head and it's backfiring on a lot of the Democratic administration and people. So fake news, fake memes, fake whatever you want to call it, is all being highly, highly scrutinized right now by social media. And so are the pages. No, I'm not kidding you. Go in Don Jr.'s news feed and you'll see it. So I believe that it's being highly, highly scrutinized right now because of a number of factors. Okay? I think that whether it's the social media gods, whoever it is, I think they're fed up with not just the negativity on social media, but also the sexually suggestive stuff. And we all have our opinions on that, guys. And of course, some of the stuff that's just, I think it's AC though. I think it's a step a little bit in the right direction. How far they go with it is going to be the determination of whether or not it's making people too sensitive, but there's too much of it out there. The point is, on the internet, there's too much of it out there. Somebody posts something that somebody, whatever, kidnapped 4 12-year-olds. People believe it's real. People believe that it's real. It's become a little too much. And I think it's a step in the right direction. How far they go to step into that space is another story, guys. And I'm not going to talk about the sensitivity versus insensitivity and so on and so forth. But social media was not designed to be a platform for people to just put whatever they want out there and have there be no consequences whatsoever. That needs to shift a little bit because there's people that do it right. There goes all my followers. That's funny, Wild Country. I don't think you post anything sexual. But it's just gotten... And I understand what you guys are saying, and I understand your gripes, and I appreciate your feedback, believe me, and I'll say whatever you guys type up. But you need to really realize it needs to be tightened up. And I know Semi-Auto Kid, a few of you guys would agree with me. It has to be tightened up a little bit. It's gotten a little out of hand where people can just put whatever they want out there. And there's no consequence and there's no repercussion. And I think that that's wrong. So, it's just, I know AC, I know deep down you know it's right. It's how far they go with it. It just needs to be reeled in a little bit, just a little bit. I'm not saying that everything that these people do is right, and I'm not saying that they've gotten these things correct in the past in how they do things, but there is literally 30 to 40 articles that have come out in the last few weeks around fake news. And if you just do a Google search of fake news, which I did, you can see all these articles going back just the last 7 hours of fake news articles. It's gotten a little out of hand. So, I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do. So I think I'm not sure if I shared Don's story, but I know that it was in his story. So I think a lot of people just need to take a minute, take a small step back and realize they want to make the platform a little bit more enjoyable and less negative and less about certain things. If you want to see half-naked chicks all the time, go over to YouPorn or whatever the hell it is you use. Head over to like one of those pages. It's just getting a little bit out of hand where the reward for people to be negative, say negative things, say things that aren't true is too high. So they're not saying they're going to take pages away, and they're not saying they're going to take posts down, but they're just saying they're tightening up on the algorithm on that type of stuff. So, it's just, that's a huge victory for people that are trying to do it right. And I agree with you guys. It's a slippery slope, but that's not what social media was designed for. So those are my thoughts on fake news. Yes, Wild Country Tactical, sex does sell. It gets into a deeper conversation. Sex does sell, but what they're trying to do is not have people's 14-year-old daughters be provoked into taking in doing things that their parents would not be proud of because it feels like they're going to get ahead or they're going to get likes or they're going to get follows. And I think any dad or any mom of a young one can agree with that. It just needs to be reeled in a little bit, and it just needs to be put in perspective, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff out there that has just gone too far. So to everybody, I say this. Thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. We're now available on TuneIn, and we're available on iHeartRadio. So if you get the opportunity, head over to Podbean or head over to iTunes, leave a review. And make sure that you head over to YouTube and you comment tonight, all night, because we're going to be giving away the Taurus. So make sure you head over and you take advantage of the Taurus giveaway. So I'm going to leave that there. But AC and AZ says, yeah, it's not good with the young ones. I fear one day my girls fear the day my girls have to be on social platforms. There are no real journalists anymore. I agree with that. But there's good and bad, Chuck, that comes with not having real journalists. The good is you have an open platform. Everybody can be a journalist. So everybody's a writer now. Everybody's a journalist. Everybody's this. Everybody's that. Everybody's somebody, right? Like I always say. I don't see a problem with an open platform. I see a problem with the promotion of certain behavior and the promotion of certain things. I think that has to be managed. I get messages constantly about random people that I don't know, I've never met, or I've barely met, or I've met once, that just go on there and they spew hate. And they're like, do you know this person? They don't even work in the firearms business. They don't have anything to do with the firearms business. They don't have anything to do with the defense industry. And they get on there and they spew baloney. I don't have any part of that. I don't want any part of that. I don't have any time or bandwidth to give to that. I don't care, is the honest to God truth. I support everybody that wants to do something right or wants to do something good with their time. So parents and whoever else, what's up, Michelle? Parents, whoever else, anybody that have their children or their young ones or anybody on social media platforms need to be aware that that stuff should not be promoted. So AC and AZ says, I think parents need to monitor their kids because it's really unsafe. It's not safe on here. You're absolutely right. John, did you hear Stop and Shop workers are in strike? None of their employees are working in all my New York, Rhode Island, and other states because they're making them pay $90 for their benefits instead of $20. It sounds like a union thing. I have not heard the story. Thank you for bringing light to it. Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like a union thing. I don't know the nature of their union agreements. $20 seems pretty cheap for benefits. I don't know how unreasonable of a leap that is. I would say for somebody working in a grocery store, $90 is probably pretty significant. But that's something definitely to tweet about or talk about, Semi-Auto Kid, no doubt. A 3 times increase or 4 times increase plus. So it's 4 times increase. It's 50 times increase at least. It's an increase of what? 500%. 500%. Why am I my math all over the place on that? But that's a pretty significant increase. So, I mean, that stuff's all good to talk about for sure. But definitely do a Google search. Look at fake news. Look how much is out there. Look how ridiculous it's gotten. And I think it stems off of a lot of the things that we've seen throughout the course of not just the Trump administration, because like I tell you guys all the time, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I don't do politics. I'll talk political about the 2A community because it's something I'm passionate about and it's an area I'm in. I think you guys all know the way I lean. Do I have some liberal or democratic views on certain things? Yes, I do. I'm starting to come around on certain things. I don't necessarily disagree with a certain level of universal basic income. I don't necessarily disagree with certain things. I think the cost of college and colleges being run like businesses has gotten out of control. It needs to be reeled in. But that's believe it or not, that's a liberal belief. It's fiscally conservative, but it's a liberal belief. So, I think that a lot of people need to really understand that. Dago says his cost of benefits is $148 a week for a single. I'd love $90. Yeah, I mean, benefits vary from place to place. Definitely a union thing for sure. Stop and Shop is game. So with everyone on strike. Yeah, I mean, they should fix it. Yeah, so, I mean, I have certain passions. I'm not this diehard right-winger that sits here and just spews right-wing, stuff. I believe in certain things. There's certain things that I've come around to kind of understand. And when I say I believe in a certain level of universal basic income, I tell you guys this. I absolutely believe that in this country there are certain things we could do to create a universal basic income for certain folks, whether they're, they do away with Social Security and create a universal basic income. And if somebody wants to not work a day in their life and pursue whatever it is they want to pursue, they have the ability and the means to do that. I think that could create a lot of free enterprise. People feel that it won't because it'll promote laziness. I don't know. It just depends on that stuff. Recently, 33 Republicans voted for more gun control. Just because they're Republican doesn't mean they're 2A. We got to weed out. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that, Semi-Auto Kid. There's a lot of that. I absolutely believe that there's Republicans out there that aren't pro 2A. So there might be a number of reasons. You got to remember, a lot of times when those bills try to become laws or there's attempt to pass a bill, those bills are about this thick. We don't know what's in them. So they could be voting for more gun control in certain aspects. Am I absolutely for more gun control for mentally ill people? Absolutely, I am. Do I agree that it's a slippery slope once you go down that road and it has to be done properly? Yes, I do. It shouldn't be because you went to like a lot of people have thrown out there, if somebody's gone to a psychiatrist, they should be subject to gun control laws. I don't agree with that. What if you went to a relationship therapist? What if you and your wife went to see a therapist to try to work out your marriage? Does that mean you should be subject to some level of losing your guns? No, absolutely not. So there are slippery slopes that you can go down. And there are situations where I could see a Republican or conservative agreeing with a certain level. The fear amongst a lot of people is the slippery slope that it goes down. I really don't like unions. I understand the reason and support that, but they are too strong and cause many more problems. And I agree, employers also need to be reeled in. Yeah, I mean, unions are a very touchy subject. I think unions were absolutely necessary to create an environment of fair wages and fair play, especially with a lot of seasonal employees. I had a lot of members of my family in police unions. I had a lot of members of my family in construction unions. I had a lot of my members of my family in teachers unions. So I'm very familiar with unions. I think they do have a place, and they do have a place to fight for certain benefits. The problem is now that a lot of those benefits and those basic income values and a lot of those things have been put in place, the unions still drive a lot of good and bad, okay, for their employees. So there is upside and downside to unions and union control. And there's also a huge downside to union busting. You have to be very careful. Well, it would shoot me down. I'm an FFL dealer, and I have been to a therapist. Yeah, I mean, Wild Country Tactile, that's absolutely right. That's where it becomes a slippery slope. Do I think that there should be certain gun control parameters for people that have mental illnesses, have diagnosed mental illnesses? Oh, I don't think there's a person in this forum, and I don't think there's a person that's going to listen to this that wouldn't disagree with that. I got asked flat out on Mark Bell's podcast, should everybody own a gun? The basic answer to that is no, everybody should not, but everybody should have the opportunity to throughout their lifetime, barring mental illness and certain disabilities that would not prohibit safe use. It's a risk, there's no question about it. But until a bill's going to be put in place, that's the risk. One of their bills was trying to pass was for domestic violence. Right now, if you have a felony, a domestic charge, you can't have a gun, but they're trying to change it to a misdemeanor domestic. It's a slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope, and that's where it gets really slippery. A lot of women And there's a lot of people that have been through this, a lot of friends of mine, a lot of folks. I know endless amounts of people that have been through this. A lot of women use that as a revenge tool. It's a very commonly used revenge tool, especially if they know you work in the industry or you partake in the industry. It's a very common revenge tactic. So I can tell you firsthand, I know pro shooters, I know competition shooters, I know gun store owners that has been used. I know very prominent gun industry owners that have huge companies that's been used against. So I was a Teamster for 5 years, shop steward for 2. They got our medical dropped 65% in their quarterly reviews based on productivity, so I may be biased. Probably are. Most people that have misdemeanor domestics didn't hit a woman, just got in trouble because they got caught up with their partner. Could be an upset girlfriend who called the cops. Semi-auto could be anything. It could be anything. Here's the one thing, and I know about 7 things about police work. You know, when you show up to a domestic as a law enforcement officer, more often than not, somebody has to go, or somebody has to leave the premises, or something has to be done. If a woman goes down and files, they have to fill out paperwork. They fill out paperwork if they deem in that room that it's justifiable, and more often than not, they're going to err on the side of caution. And they view it as, whether it's taking guns or it's doing whatever, they view that side of caution as the safe side, right or wrong. And a lot of times it's used as a revenge tool. It's a very common practice. Believe me, I've seen it. I've gotten the calls. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. Trust me. You know, it's a very common tactic. So, you know, it's just one of those things, you know, you have to be very aware of. So, and it does fall under fake news. It's one of those things. I know another guy, a very, I'm not going to use names. It's not what I do. Very well-known person. His wife did something similar, you know, and she flat out said to him, "I'm going to get your guns taken away." And those are the things that happen. You know, I'm not going to put anybody's business out there, but it happens. But what you have to do is go through the process. You have to trust in the process, and you have to trust that the truth will come out, and you have to always keep your evidence, and then you have to, you know, consider who you put in your circle, and you have to consider who you date. Your partner or the person you're with should have your best interests always in their sights. So if you want to participate in these giveaways and you want to participate in the Taurus giveaway, you have to head to YouTube, guys. I want to see comments, and I want to see as much as we can under all the different posts. I want to see as many people get involved. No problem, Gail. I'll see you. I wanted to do this on Friday night because I want to give everybody a chance over the weekend to comment and share. Things are getting scary. You got to ask yourself, will you comply with the laws, or will you stand your ground and take the chance of going to jail for 5 years? It's scary, bro. It's super scary. So it is a delicate tap dance, and you have to stay in the gray. You have to stay in the gray area. So, you know, you have to be able to articulate or explain your reasons. You should never break the law, but you should be able to articulate at least the why. So I hope everybody takes the time to enter these contests. I hope everybody takes the time to enter these giveaways. I randomly selected a few people to win Tops Knives. They're going to get a gift in the mail. I'm randomly selecting people to win prizes from Gargoyles, Tops, Kenzies prize packs. I'm getting all this stuff out this week because I'm going to be gone and I'm going to be at NRA show. So I want to let everybody know, please take a minute, enter these contests, head over to YouTube, and get as many comments as you can. If everybody in here leaves 5 comments, that's 40 entries into the contest. So if everybody in this room heads over to YouTube after this and leaves 5 comments, we'll have 40 more entries. So head over to YouTube. I'm going to wrap on this. I want to thank everybody. It's Friday night. I'm going to get some dinner. Hopefully everybody had a great night. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. I want to thank Kenzies Optics, Taurus, Crossbreed Holsters, Riton Optics, and of course Tops and Canic for all the prizes. So I'll randomly be selecting people on YouTube. And if you don't believe me, ask Gunjitsu, and some other person, someone else won. I randomly picked them. So make sure you head over right now to YouTube and leave at least 5 comments. Get yourself some entries. And make sure you tap thumbs up, like, and share. And thank the sponsors. That's right. So, yeah, I beat you, AC. So peace out, guys. I do appreciate everyone. I appreciate you, Semi-Auto Kid. I appreciate everyone who shares this stuff. Please take a minute to enter. Please take a minute to thank everybody. It's going to get hectic the next few weeks for me. I'm going to stream Sunday, pick a winner for the Taurus, get it out. We have NRA coming up, so I really hope everybody takes the time to enter now and let me know in my last post to everybody in this live right now, all 8, 9, 10 of you, 20 of you, whoever comes through here, please let me know in my last post what companies you want to see me meet with and what companies you want to see sponsor. Okay? And one of them better be Grey Ghost. Grey Ghost. So make sure, tag Grey Ghost in my last post. So let me know who you want to see me meet with, and I will get them involved. So hopefully everyone has a great weekend. I appreciate all of you. Head over to YouTube now.